Hi everybody, I'm Reed, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to change your guitar strings. Sometimes our strings get a little bit rusty, and we have to go back and do a little bit of basic guitar maintenance to keep them looking fresh and keep that guitar playing good. So today, just keep watching these videos and you'll have your strings changed in no time. Alright everybody, as y'all can now see, I have all of my materials laid out. This is everything that I'm going to need in changing my guitar strings today. The first and most important of these is the guitar strings. You can find guitar strings at pretty much any place that sells guitars, such as Guitar Center. And you're going to find plenty of options. Some of my favorites are Martins and Elixirs. But today I'm going to be using these D'Addario strings. They're coated phosphor bronze, which is very good for providing a nice balanced tone, like what you saw in the intro. I've been using these strings a lot. They're very reliable, and they can last a good bit of time too. The next thing that we're going to need is a pair of wire cutters. And we use these just so we can cut the strings off of the guitar, so then it's a lot easier to get these ends of the strings out of their tuning pegs. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about here in a minute once we get to taking these off. Finally, we're going to have to use a tuner. Now, you should tune your guitar up every time you pick it up to play, but it's especially important to tune it up immediately once you put on the strings, or else they might not stay on the guitar very long. You may have to go back and redo the job, and changing strings can take a bit of time, so we don't want to do that. Now, if you'll take a look right here, we've got our guitar laying down on the table or a workspace. And if you go up here and take a really close look, you can see a little bit of that dirt I was talking about has built up on the strings. It's not nice and shiny how it used to be. And it might not really look like much, but this definitely builds up and it makes a big impact on your playing ability. You can hear it a bit when you're sliding on it. You can't do hammer-ons, pull-offs, or slide-ups or slide-downs. It's good at all. And whenever that happens and it loses its shine, then it's time to do what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to begin by loosening up the tuning peg up here, which is going to really drop down the tone of that string. We're going to keep going all the way. We're going to go all the way until this thing is completely unraveled, until eventually we can just go ahead and pull this thing off. Alright, just a couple more turns, and once it starts to look like this, we can go ahead, just get our fingers down in there, we can just go ahead and pull that thing off. Alright y'all, so as y'all can now see, I've gotten the string off. It's now detached from the tuning peg, and it's now time to go ahead and use that pair of wire cutters I was talking about, just to make this mess a lot easier to clean up afterwards. Alright everybody, I've now cut off that string, and it's not on the guitar anymore. There's just this little tiny bit laying here, and we're going to repeat this process for the remaining 5 strings in the guitar, and then we're going to tackle the next step. Alright everybody, as you can now see, there are no more strings attached up at the top, and I've cut most of them off. These two are still on here because sometimes strings don't cut. And just like in one's path to learning how to play guitar, some things just aren't going to go the way you want it to, but that's okay. Nevertheless, we're going to get on to our next step, which is going to be taking these little white things out of our guitar. So please stay tuned, and I will show you how to do that. Alright everybody, so now we're about to take these things out. Unfortunately, there's no easy way to do this, but We just kind of have to use a little bit of force, and that's why I like to use the pliers, which is the same thing that we used to cut the wire from earlier. So, just kind of got to twist it around in there, and then it'll come right up like that. And then you can stick your fingers down in the tuning hole, and you can press it up, and hopefully it'll come on up. All right, and there we go. Now the tuning peg is out, and we're gonna want to make really sure that we don't lose these. So I'm gonna set mine right over there, and I'm gonna repeat this process for the remaining strings. Okay, everybody. Now, if you take a look here, there are no strings on my guitar. Nothing is up here at the top, and nothing is down here in the bottom. It's just the holes. I have my pegs over here out of the guitar, and then here are the little ends of the strings. So now what we're about to do is we're just going to check the neck of our guitar, make sure it's nice and clean and there are no scratches or marks in it, because the neck is honestly what I consider to be one of the most important parts of the guitar, because that's where the music is made. That's where you work your magic. It's where you put your fingers at to make the sound. And if there's any kind of gunk built up, that's going to interfere with your playing. It's not going to sound good. You're going to be really out of tune, and it just doesn't make for good music. Alright, so as you can see, we have removed the strings from the packaging, and we now have these wound up coils. So, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, Reed, we simply just take a string and you put it in a hole, put a peg back in it, put it through these things, and then you just tune them up to the different notes, right? Well, not quite, not exactly. If you look here, the strings have different thicknesses, and the thicker string is going to produce a lower sound, and the really thin strings are going to produce a higher sound. And this is why I really like the Adoria, because they go out of their way to explain to you exactly which one's which. And looking at this, we can see the notes of the standard tuning, E, A, D, G, B, E, or in other words, most left to most right, lowest to highest. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and find which ones these are, and then we're going to put them in the space accordingly. That being said, that means that the 6th string, or the one with the brass, which is that little guy right there, is going to go right here. Okay, so now I have the string unraveled. It's just a long dangling string. And the first thing that I'm going to do before I even touch the guitar is I'm going to take the end of the string. I'm going to give a little bit of a pinch. Alright, now the reason I give that little pinch is to aid in putting the string in, which is then going to be held in place by one of our tuning pegs. If you look at our if you look at a little pin, the bridge pin, you will see that it has this little ridge on one of the sides. And that ridge is going to face up the neck of the guitar. And the string is going to go right in that little ridge, like so. So that low string is in at the bridge, and then it is threaded through the hole of the tuning peg. Now it's very, very loose. It's not tight at all, but we're going to fix that by tightening this up just how you would if you were just tuning up your guitar before you're about to play. Now, there's a specific way that I like to put on my strings. I don't just willy-nilly go and start tightening it up. But in fact, the first thing that you'll see me do is I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to grab it here at the nut, and I'm going to pull back about 1.5 frets, 2 frets, somewhere in that range. And this next part, unfortunately, I'm not really going to be able to get on video, just because I'm going to have to use both of my hands to do it. But if you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to tightly hold down this spot right here, and I'm probably not going to allow this to move while I'm tightening this up. And I'll go and show you for a quick reference right now. What's going to happen is I'm going to tune it so that the spare end of the string will originally go underneath the part of the string passing through the hole. Then I'm going to tighten this up so that we have one layer on top. But then as we keep going, the end that's going to be heading down towards the bridge is going to be at the very bottom. So essentially we're forming an overhand knot. And you will see this with more detail when I actually do it. Okay, the low E string is now on the guitar. The thing is tight here in the tuning peg, and what you didn't see was that as I was tuning that up, I was holding down with my thumb and applying pressure to that. Because if you don't do that, the tension is going to pull it up. It's just in the anatomy of the guitar that it has to be pinched in there. And if there's no tension, it's just going to pop up, or the string could perhaps even break, hitting you in the face, which is why I really advise you to take precaution. Don't lean into your guitar when you're doing this process. Plenty of people have been very, very injured and have gotten really hurt. So just keep that in mind. Now, with that being said, if you take a look up here, we can see the knot that I made. And this is because the knot needs to be tight, or else it could become loose, your tuning could go bad, or in the worst case scenario, it could completely pop off the guitar in the middle of when you're playing. So, if you take a look, you'll see what I was talking about earlier. Here's that loose end of the string that's coming through. There's the hole in the middle. We have several loops of the string around it. And you'll notice that the knot I formed is by having one loop on top and the rest of the loops coming down, making this knot right here. But when you look at it from a different angle, you can see that you just have several neat layers of string, and they're going to keep dropping down below the one on top until it's ready to come out and go down the neck to the rest of the guitar. So here we are, and I've got my Snark tuner out. I love it. Pretty much you just clip this on to the head, and then it'll just read the note that you're playing. That's perfect A sharp. Unfortunately, that's not what we want. We want an E note. And I'm a little bit high, so I'm going to drop it down till I hear what I want. And just a little bit of tweaking. And of course, I'm going to come back and do this again after all the strings are on. Alright everybody, I now have all 6 strings on my guitar, and it's looking just like it did at the beginning, except up here we have a jumbled mess, and these strings are a little bit shinier, they're a whole lot smoother, and they play a whole lot better. So the next thing we need to do is we just need to go ahead and get a final good tuning up on the guitar. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to tune it up E, A, D, G, B, E. Alright, that one's down about half a step. So you're just going to twist it up, get it where it needs to be. And now it's too much. All right. Just a little bit more. And okay, there we go. And we're going to go ahead and repeat that to get the proper tunings on all 6 strings. Okay, everybody. So I've gone ahead and I've tuned them all up. So now it has that nice sound. It's good and in tune. And the next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and trim off all of these loose ends. Alright, I'm going to trim these ends using the same pair of cutters that we did in the beginning. And I'm going to go ahead and do it in a way so that I leave about an inch and a half of string left. About that much should suffice. And the reason I'm doing this is because in the event that I messed up, or if something comes off and I need to redo this, I still have enough string left over to restring it. If I cut like all the way back there at the bottom, and I find out that I didn't have enough coiled up, and I go back to put that string on, well, that's not going to work out. You can always play around with something a bit longer, but when it's too short, that's useless, and you need to go and buy another pack of strings. And guitar costs money, so we don't want to do that. But anyway, here we go, and we're going to go ahead and make that cut. Alright, everybody, so now my strings are all changed, my guitar's good to go, it's in tune with an E, A, D, G, B, and another E. And it's sounding good, the strings are sliding up and down really good, the hammer-ons are great too, pretty much everything that I need my guitar to do, it's sounding great. And the strings are nice and shiny, just the way I like it and the way I want it to stay. Now, when they start to look not that way anymore, then I'm going to want to do all this again. Thank you very much for watching. As always, please like and subscribe, and keep coming back for more. Thank you.